Hi, welcome to another one of Surf Simply's quick tips with me, Rue Hill. And today I'm going to talk to you about cutbacks. So you've heard me talk about cutbacks and floaters in other videos probably. Cutbacks and floaters are really important because those two maneuvers specifically are the first two maneuvers that we do on the wave face. They are the two horizontal maneuvers. When you first start surfing down the line, either you get ahead of the wave or the wave tends to get ahead of you. If the wave gets ahead of you and you've got a section breaking in front of you that you don't want to get stuck behind, that's when you do a floater. So you can watch our video on surfing to the targets and on floaters to understand more about them. When you're ahead of the whitewater and you're surfing out onto the face, that's when you need to do a cutback. And this is something that happens all the time. When I'm out in the water and I'm watching people just out the front here surfing, it's so often that I will see experienced surfers riding 10, 15, 20 feet ahead of where the whitewater is, and then wondering why they're starting to slow down, and then often thinking that the wave has fizzled out and finished, when actually it was still going. They just needed to turn, bring the board all the way back to the whitewater, and then carry on going down the line. So it's a functional, useful maneuver. It's one of the first ones that you want to learn. And they're really fun. Like when you do a really good cutback, it feels great. There's so much nuance in there. This is a quick tip video. So in the next couple of minutes, I'm going to address the fundamentals and I'm going to highlight some of the common mistakes. That second part is useful because when you watch a lot of surf coaching videos or coaching of any type online, the reason why you'll find it difficult to implement the advice you're being given is because people tend to just talk about everything that's going on with equal emphasis. And what I've tried to do in these videos, and this one's a good example, is I'm trying to describe what's happening, but I'm really emphasizing the mistakes that I know most people make. So that's the one thing you want to think about. First of all, when you're surfing down the line on waves that you feel fairly comfortable in, just try to get in the habit of noticing how far behind you the whitewater is. So we're not even thinking about doing a turn or a cutback. You're just standing along, you're standing up on your board, you're cruising down the line, you feel fairly comfortable on the wave, it's within your comfort zone, and that could mean anything. Within your comfort zone is a very personal thing, but you're not yet really doing cutbacks, and all I want you to do is just look around, take a breath, relax, shake your shoulders off, look at how far away the whitewater is behind you. Watch the water going past your feet, take it all in. Now, if you've been practicing doing your carving turns a little bit when you're in the whitewater, if you've been practicing carving to the beach at the end of waves so that now you're starting to get quite a good body mechanics technique down for performing carving turns, then if you notice that you're about maybe 2 board lengths ahead of the whitewater, you've probably got the ability to start doing a cutback, to turn the board all the way back round and then do a second turn once you're next to the whitewater so that you've redirected, so you're facing back down the line, back the way that you started. But now you're in a steeper, faster part of the wave, so you're going off down the line. So when I talk about this now, I'm going to talk about the forehand cutback because it's a little bit more difficult. The backhand cutback, you're already kind of facing the way you want to go, and so it tends to be more intuitive. So I'm going to just talk about the forehand cutback because in my experience, if you can do a forehand cutback, a backhand cutback is actually fairly easy by comparison. Okay, so I'm going down the line of the wave. I've now noticed that I'm 2 board lengths ahead of the wave, and I'm about to do a carving turn. This is a carving change of direction, which means that your back foot needs to go to the back of the board. We've done a whole other video on the importance of getting your back foot back when you're doing carving turns. You don't want to put your weight back though. You should be sitting forward over that front foot with that weight forward. The back foot is just moving back without you putting your weight on it. Again, look at the video about the importance of using your hips to move your weight rather than just moving your weight every time your foot happens to move. So I'm preparing for this cutback by putting my foot back right at the back of the board, my weight's still forward, and then I'm going to start sitting back, and that's when the turn begins. I'm going to open my chest right up, and the first thing I want you to think is touch. And by that I mean I want you to take your leading hand, so I'm a goofy footer, that means my right hand. If you're a natural footer, it's your left hand. So you're going to take your leading hand and you're going to turn it right around so that you're trying to touch the water outside your heel rail. And then you're going to begin trying to look back over your shoulder at the white water behind you. So your chest is completely open, your hand is nearly touching the water, or perhaps it's even touching the water, and you're trying to look all the way back round at the white water. But I don't want you to look 100% of the way round at the white water. I want you to try and turn your body about 70% as far as you think you can turn. And then you hold. You're just going to hold that position, and you've got your weight back. You've got it slightly on your heel, and that will have happened automatically as you put your hand over into the water, and you'll feel the board starting to come round. Now, most of the time when you start doing this, your foot won't be far enough back, and so the arc of the turn will be really big, and you'll find yourself down in the flats in front of the wave with the white water then hitting you in the back. That's okay. That means that you're starting to practice it correctly. It means you haven't quite got it yet, but it means you're thinking about it in the right way. So don't give up, don't stop. As you get better at putting your back foot nearer the back of the board and at rotating your body more and putting your weight back more, you'll find the arc of that turn will get smaller and smaller. And pretty soon you'll notice that something really cool starts to happen. You'll start to be able to do most of that cutback in the top part of the wave without going right down onto the flats. You'll be in the top 2/3 of the wave. I always tell people to try and think about it as if they want to do the entire cutback in the top half of the wave. That never actually happens, but it's a really useful way to try to think about it. And then when you've come round nearly 180 degrees, so your board is pointing back at the white water, do you remember I told you to only turn about 70% as much as you could? That's the moment when you then unleash that extra 30%, and you're going to look right for the top of the white water. Now, you guys that have watched the video on targets, this is the target when you're doing a cutback. You're looking up at the top of the white water, and you want to try and finish that turn with the white water going underneath the nose of the board, and then you're going to feel that pressure underneath your front foot, right where your front foot is. Now, if you just get to there and you fall off the board, that's absolutely fine. You can chalk that up as a massive win. You'll find that the process of actually then turning back around to carry on surfing down the line will already be really intuitive to you by the time you've taught your body what it feels like to do that whole first part of the turn that I've just described. So don't worry too much about that. So it's very difficult for me standing in front of the camera to tell you what you're doing wrong and what you personally need to focus on. And that's where there is no substitute for actually having someone look at video of you. And as I say, we do online coaching courses. Go to surf70.com, check all that stuff out. But what I've tried to tell you there in terms of the foot placement, the thought process, moving your hand, only rotating 70% and then looking for a target, those are the common mistakes. Those are the things that I think are really helpful for people to think about. Maybe don't try and think about all of those things in one surf. Just go out for one surf and say, all right, I'm just going to try and notice when the opportunities are. And go out for the next surf and say, I'm just going to get my back foot back before I begin to do that cutback. And then the next surf say, I'm just going to get my leading hand and try and touch the water. And then the next one you can go, all right, when I've done all that, I'm going to just try and notice where the top of the wave is. And then the next one, maybe I'm going to try and hit the top of the wave. So this is a video where we've almost got like 6 or 7 drills that you can give yourself. And as with all of these things, I encourage you when you go in the water, give yourself just one drill, make that specific, go in, work on that one thing, and don't beat yourself up if you get other stuff wrong. All right, bit of a longer one today, but I hope you found that helpful, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for joining me. Bye.